The Nashville Predators reassigned Brady Martin to the OHL after playing 3 games in a Predators jersey. Did this franchise mismanage Martin's development? We're going to debate that on today's Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy best day of the week to everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our Thursday episode shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders, our everydayers, and a special shout out to our international everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio and Friends. I have a Thelma to my Hockey Louise.
You do. I'm Emma Lingan, and I'm an NHL reporter and host for the Hockey News.
Well, the Brady Martin experiment has wrapped up here in Nashville as the Nashville Predators announced on Wednesday that the 18-year-old 5th overall draft pick is heading back to the OHL. On today's show, we're going to hear what Barry Trotz had to say about Brady Martin's time here in Nashville and what the path forward may look like. We're also going to discuss why this move happened now and how we think Nashville has done so far when it comes to developing a future piece for this franchise. Of course, tonight, game night against the Vancouver Canucks. So, Emma and I are going to get you ready for puck drop tonight as well. But before we dive into all of that, want to let you know today's episode's brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Emma, happy Thursday. Best day of the freaking week for whatever reason we can't remember, but how about that? Game night. So we got to get to the game night. But the big news in Nashville and a lot of people in the national media talking about the fact that the Nashville Predators yesterday reassigned Brady Martin to the OHL. He is headed back to the Sioux Greyhounds, where he has played since 2023. Fun fact. Played a lot of that time with Andrew Gibson, who is now in Milwaukee before Gibson got traded last season. Could have played up to 9 games in the NHL before he would lose his eligibility in juniors, but they opted to send him back. Emma, when you heard the news yesterday that the Predators had made that decision, what was kind of your initial reaction, your initial thought to the decision to send him back to the OHL?
I mean, it's what I expected. Quite frankly, I think that, this was never the plan. Like the plan was never for him to stay in Nashville at this point. Again, if you will recall, I was of the school of thought that maybe he didn't need to be here to begin with. But, once that decision was made, I knew immediately that this was not going to be a long-term thing. Not good for the team, not good for him. I think that this was you get him his little taste of the NHL. For him, it was 3 games.
3 games.
And he got to experience a road trip, didn't play on the road trip, but he, got kind of a taste of, what NHL life is like. And I think that was really the purpose of him being here at all. It wasn't to be an impactful contributor to this team right now. It was to get a taste and then go back, take what he learned, build on that, and then hopefully you see, a market improvement next year. So, it's just kind of what I expected. I will say Barry Trotz said, "Oh, I never expected him to make the roster, and here we are." And I'm like, "That I gotta call BS on that, Barry. You absolutely knew this was happening. It's not like Brady Martin came in. Brady Martin had a fine training camp. It was fine. He did not come in and blow the doors off of the Fordyce Center. Like this was a calculated move, and that's fine to call it what it is. But, I think that they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, and now he's going back to junior where I think he belongs right now.
Yeah. I will say this, when I heard the news yesterday, my first thought was, I hate that it happened yesterday with the Anaheim game. Because I'm one of those people, I'm like, you really always want to leave well, whether, and that's out of Brady Martin's control, of course. But I always tell my kids, if you're going to quit a job, leave well. If you're going to end a relationship, as best you can, leave well. And I'm like, man, I hate that Brady Martin had to go off after that, whatever that was. So, I was kind of like, man, I really wish that he could have wrapped up his NHL time, maybe with a better team performance, if not individual performance. But I also think it's interesting that they opted to do it now, because if you look at the Predators' schedule, there is game after game after game. I mean, we're talking, they have games every other day with a doubleheader in there or back to back in there, straight through for a couple of weeks. And so at that point, you really are not doing Brady Martin an ounce of good by trying to play him every other night in the NHL, or playing him one night and letting him rest a game and then putting him back in the next game. Like, at this point, the schedule is so heavy that there's really just not a benefit at some point with Brady Martin. We got an impromptu chit chat with Barry Trotz at practice yesterday. He showed up and wanted to talk about Brady Martin. And, what he had to say was all very complimentary. He talked about, nothing has changed about how he views Brady Martin. This decision is not based on like, well, Brady Martin couldn't cut it in the NHL. It's nothing like that. He really feels like clearly Brady Martin's going to be a big piece for this franchise moving forward. Feels like he had an opportunity to take some things away from the time he had with the team. So very positive framing from Barry Trotz about this. And the same thing from Andrew Brunette, very positive framing about their experience and his time here. How beneficial was this time for Brady Martin, really, Emma?
I mean, I think it was beneficial. I don't think it hurt his development.
Mhm.
I'll say that, because it was a brief enough time. It's not like he sat up here for half the season and didn't play. He was
Right.
a couple weeks fine. So I don't think it hurt him. I think it was good, all like good experience for him. But I will maintain, I don't know that it needed to happen right now. I
Mhm.
think you could have done the exact same thing with him next year. And then next year, you send him back to Milwaukee
Right.
instead of junior. Like, I don't know. Again, it's doesn't matter now because it's already happened this way. I think that they being Barry Trotz, the front office, they just got so excited. Oh, this is the first, like the highest pick
Yeah.
we've had in so many years. And this is our future franchise cornerstone, which look, he very well may be. But I don't think he needed to give him this taste right now. It almost felt like, I don't know, it's like, I mean, it's almost just like, well, we know the team is going to be bad. So let's like have a good storyline here. Let's get the kid
Yes.
up here, sell some
Yeah.
tickets, whatever it is. Um, but it was just clear he is not ready yet. And that's fine. That doesn't mean anything about
Right.
his future impact. It's just he is an 18-year-old child. He does not have a hair on his body. And you are sending him out there against enormous NHL players who are old enough to be his father. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that that is going to be beneficial to him right now. So, it is what it is. I know there's a learning curve no matter what. And I think the experience is valuable. I don't know that it needed to happen this soon.
Mhm.
But I don't necessarily think it will hurt him in the long term.
Yeah. Coming up, I'm going to tell you the one take I've heard about Brady Martin that makes me think people might be crazy. Also, we're going to talk about why the move right now may be helpful for the Nashville Predators. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at FanDuel. The NFL season is in full swing, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you're going to get $300 in bonus bets if that bet wins. That's right, pick a bet. Put down $5, and if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You're going to love how FanDuel gives you so many different ways to play. You can build parlays. You can try those player props. You can even follow the live lines during games. It's going to make watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you are a casual football fan or you love diving into all of those advanced statistics, FanDuel is going to make your game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, Emma, I'm going to be honest here, and we may go off the rails just slightly, but let's go on a journey together. I have heard a take that makes me a little bit like, what are you thinking? And this is the take I've heard from a couple of different places that why would you take him on the Canadian road trip and not play him? And I mean, I understand people saying, hey, why wouldn't you take him? Like, why are you taking him along and not playing him? But some people have taken it a step further and said things like he should have played in Toronto in front of family and friends, and you let him face off against Austin Watson in the face-off circle. That's what you should have done with Brady Martin's time.
Austin Matthews.
Did I say Watson?
Yeah. I was like, that would be something.
There we go. Like, how tough are you, Brady Martin? I want you to fight Austin Watson. And I want you to face off against Austin Matthews.
Fight Austin. Go to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where Austin Watson is playing right now. Fight him, then come back face off against Austin Matthews. Yeah,
that's the measure of a man. That is the measure of a man right there, Brady Martin. You want to know what he can do? Do those two things. No, I did hear somebody say, like, why wouldn't you put him in Toronto so that he can face off against one of the best players in the league? What in the ever-loving flagnog are you thinking? Acting like anything about that sentence is any good for Brady Martin. It is ludicrous. Let me tell you why. Number one, Brady Martin was the 5th overall pick, and he is going to be a good hockey player. I do believe that, but he is not Connor Bedard. He is not young Connor McDavid. You do not need him to go out there at 18 years old and prove jack to anybody. Number two, how at 18 years old, facing off against 30 whatever year old or 28, I don't want to make him too old, Austin Matthews, one of the top players in the NHL. What is that going to tell you about an 18-year-old? It's going to literally tell you nothing. You know what you're going to learn from that? Not one damn thing. That is going to mean nothing for his career. You know, and here's the bottom line, and you and I have talked about this. Nashville does not need Brady Martin to win them games. That's not his role. That was never going to be his role this season. So when I heard people saying that particular thing, I just have to call bupkis. What are you doing? Also, why would you subject him? And I say this with all due respect, mostly. Why would you subject him to the Toronto media? Why would you do that? We are so delightful down here. Why would you do that? Rude.
Yeah. No, the Toronto, the environment, the media, the fans, all of that. I mean, that would have hurt his development. You think he would have zero confidence after that, because like the worst thing that happens, because the way I see it, because I've seen this movie before, two things can happen. Number one, he has a bad game. He makes a horrible turnover, leads to a goal, whatever, embarrasses himself. And that's bad for his development for obvious reasons. I don't think I need to explain why. Option number two is he does something crazy, scores a goal, his first NHL goal, oh my God, that's our first round pick. He's going to save the franchise. It's Jesus Christ. It's the second coming. He's here to save us. And then when he doesn't score another goal for like
Oh,
8 more games,
he's
oh, this
nothing.
guy sucks. He's
Yeah.
washed. This was a horrible pick, blah, blah, blah. So either way, you don't win. Like, you don't win with that. And I think that, you know, development for these young players, it's as much mental as it is physical. And some of the physical stuff, it'll come with time. As I mentioned, he does not have a hair on his body.
Bless.
He just got his first razor. He doesn't know how to use it. Like, he is young. He's a child. And so I just think it's like the Home Alone where he puts the aftershave
Yes.
on and yells into the mirror. That's Brady Martin. He's an innocent child. And so putting him in, like, just throwing him in against, throwing him to the wolves is not going to do anything except hurt his confidence mentally. Physically, he can't match up against most of these guys yet, and
Mm,
that's okay. He
right.
doesn't need to right now. Let him go play top 6 minutes. Let him be the best player on his team. Let him continue developing that confidence. And again, now he has a taste of it. He knows what the NHL lifestyle is like. He's got it for a couple weeks. So now I think it'll be good. Like I said, I don't think it hurts him in any way, the way that they handled him while he was here. I think he goes back, he gets some of his confidence back. He's going to score like 40 goals in the in juniors and feel good about himself at the end of the year. I have no doubt about that. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
I think he has taken an, I'm assuming from just being around him, seeing him interacting with him. This is a very, very smart young man.
Mhm.
Very interested in being better. And so I feel like this is somebody who's going to take little pieces here and there that he picked up from a Ryan O'Reilly or Steven Stamkos or Roman Yossi. And he's going to take that back to junior. And now you've given him a platform where he can work on that 18, 19, 20 minutes a night.
Mhm.
Great. I do think it is a benefit for Nashville right now as well to have made this move. Like, the timing is right for Nashville because, like I said, Nashville does not need Brady Martin to win hockey games for them. They need Steven Stamkos and Philip Forsberg and Roman Yossi and Jonathan Marchessault to win hockey games for them. It is their job right now. And in some ways, it is easier to not have two big projects going at the same time. And so you don't have to focus on what can we get from this situation to help Brady Martin develop. You can focus on what can we get from these veterans and the team that we have and the roster that we have right now that will make this team competitive now. Because at this point, friends, Nashville's got to focus on the now. There is no time, there is no luxury for looking ahead for Brady Martin this season, as evidenced by Tuesday night's hockey debacle. So I think for Nashville, focus on what you need to focus on right now. And I'm not implying that Martin was a distraction, but you don't need two big projects going on at the same time. You just don't.
No, and that was actually my primary argument for
Mhm.
not adding him to the opening night roster. Again, it had less to do with him and more to do with the team. It's like, they needed to get off to a strong start. That they need to have chemistry. So let's not throw in the 18-year-old wild card just for giggles. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it was just for giggles, but you know what I mean? Like,
right.
when you already know, as we did, all of us did, that he's not staying here for the rest of the year. So it's like, it's fine, it's whatever, but I mean, it kind of just says, like, it tells the rest of the league that, yeah, we're punting on this year. Like, we're letting
Mhm.
the kid
Yeah.
play. We'll see what happens, whatever. And I'm not saying that in itself that's a bad thing, like, to have that, that approach, but it's like, you got to pick one. You got to decide, because Barry Trotz, I feel like, has been talking out both sides of his mouth a little bit, saying like, well, we really want to prove last year that wasn't us. Like, we're a different team. We're better than that, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're a winner. We can win. But then you bring in Brady Martin, and hear me when I say, I am not saying that Brady Martin single-handedly is holding this team back from
Oh,
being a
goodness,
winner.
no.
They are not one Brady Martin subtraction away from being, a cup contender. But the point is, it's like, why would you add extra variables here,
Mhm.
like to complicate that? And so it's like, well, you're saying you want to win, but also you just gave this kid his 3-game tryout. That's not really a tryout, because you knew he wasn't going to stay here. So that's kind of sending two different messages about what you're trying to accomplish as a team. So now, I mean, like, I don't have a problem with Brady Martin going back. I like, it's whatever, but I think now you have to get really serious, and you have to get really consistent with your messaging, not just to the fans, but to the players, to the rest of the league, about what you're trying to do here. Because you've been sending two different messages. And I
Mhm.
think with, you know, this is your last chance. If you are Barry Trotz, this year is your last chance to try, in my opinion. It's your last chance to really try and prove something with these veterans that you have.
Mhm.
Um, if this fails 2 years in a row, you
Yeah.
gotta move on. You gotta
Yeah.
move on. I mean, a lot of people would argue, and have argued, that you should have moved on after last year, but you know what? We are where we are. So I think that you need to, if you're Barry Trotz and you are not ready to punt it yet, and you're ready to, you want to try again with this group, that's fine, but it better work this time. And if it
Yes.
doesn't,
Yeah.
then
And it's
then
not
you got to
off to
start
the
cutting your losses.
Yeah, and it's not off to the start that Nashville needed. And again, we're 7 games in. They're 2, 3, and 2. It's not like they're, 0 and 5. We've seen that movie before. But you have to get serious if you are, like you said, saying this year we're going to try. We're really going to try for this. Then get serious now. They're going to have to get serious tonight, friends, because the Vancouver Canucks are coming to town. Nashville does not have a lot of time to be thinking about Brady Martin. They have to be thinking about what they can do to win the game against Vancouver. Coming up, Emma and I are going to tell you our keys to the game to get Nashville back on the winning track. Today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at Game Time. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. It is the app that gives fans the advantage. It is your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can use Game Time to grab seats for a Predators game, and it cannot be simpler. You can have great seats at Bridgestone Arena in minutes, and you're going to love knowing exactly what they're going to cost you up front. Game Time has no surprise fees at checkout. They have great zone deals that are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25 right now. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Game Time. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, Emma, it is the return, friends, of our life coach, Kevin Lankinen. He is coming back to join us tonight for the opposing team. So be that as it may. Vancouver Canucks coming to town. This is likely to be a spicy game, Emma, because let's face it, Kiefer Sherwood, when he was with the Nashville Predators, was the greatest chirper and pot stirrer and pain in the you-know-what. And he has continued that tradition in Vancouver while also adding goal scoring. So you've got Sherwood in the mix. Of course, Michael McCarron, a little spicy. We'll see if Jonathan Marchessault's back in the lineup. Michael Bunting. This is going to be an interesting game. And like we talked about on yesterday's show, could be winnable if Nashville gets some of their ducks in a row, because Vancouver, they've got some tough injuries going on right now. We're not going to be looking at their best roster.
Yeah. So I will say winnable if Nashville plays not at all the way they did against Anaheim. If they're going to bring that version of the team to Bridgestone Arena, just hand the win to Vancouver. But yeah, I mean, Vancouver has had a very lopsided start to their season. Sound familiar? Again, this is very much like the Ducks. It's like on paper, these two teams are similar in terms of the way that their seasons have started. I mean, they started the season, they beat the Flames in their opener. It was like 5-1, and then they lost a couple games in a row to the Oilers and the Blues, and they're struggling. Then they bounced back, beat the Dallas Stars on the road, handing Dallas their first loss of the season, mind you. And then they go on second leg of a back-to-back. They go and beat Chicago in a shootout the next night. Then from there, they go and beat the Capitals. I mean, they are riding high right now. But then all comes crashing down, of course, in that game against the Capitals. You mentioned the injuries, Philip Hedl being the big one. He's got a long history of concussions. He took a big hit from Tom Wilson and is now out. They haven't given an update, but I have heard rumors from reliable sources he could potentially be done for the year. So that is someone. And Hedl, again, sound familiar, Nashville? Hedel's a guy who's probably like a third line center who they brought in to be their second line center. And now they don't have any centers because remember they didn't sign Pius Suter in free agency. They let him go to St. Louis. And now they've got Elias Pettersson, who I will say does appear to be sort of rounding into form, but this is a team or a player in Pettersson who historically has not done very well when the pressure is on him to perform. And there's a lot of pressure on him right now. To which I will say, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Don't take the giant contract. But, whatever. No one's ever offered me that kind of money, so I guess I can't talk. But I think that, you saw the effects of that, the injury they had. Of course, they go from Washington to Pittsburgh, got absolutely rocked by the Pittsburgh Penguins, who had in net Artur Shilov's former Vancouver Canuck.
Yep.
So that was a nice little redemption arc for him. But I think that overall, this was a Canucks team that it was like, wow, we rewrote the narrative to our start to the season and we are riding high. And they have just come crashing back down. They are now coming off of that loss to Pittsburgh. So just much like Anaheim was coming in off a loss to Chicago, they're coming in off a loss to an inferior team on paper. And they're going to be pretty pissed off. And then you've got Nashville, who I don't even think you can call that hockey, what happened at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday night. But whatever that was, they better not bring it back on tonight, because
they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. Yeah. Yeah. We are also waiting to see if Brock Besser will rejoin the team. He has stepped away from the team for personal reasons. So we'll wait to see if he is back tonight or not. I do want to just throw in here a little addendum to the 5-1 loss that Vancouver suffered at Pittsburgh. You know who scored a power play goal in that beauty of a game? Tommy Novak, ladies and gentlemen.
That was his first
meat wound. First goal
of the year.
Yeah. That was his first goal, I think, as a Penguin. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So power play goal, Tommy Novak, noted power play goal sniper.
Yep.
Tied with Steven Stamkos so far this season, friends. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting game because you're right. Vancouver's going to come in hot. and Nashville better come in hot. When I look at this game, Emma, the one thing, and I know we are stating the obvious, but let's do it again together, friends. Nashville has to put goals on the scoreboard. And to do that, you got to screen the goaltender. This is a game where I am here for some Michael Bunting-esque goals. Just get some people in front of the net, do some cleaning up, get some rebounds. The other thing that I think Nashville clearly did not do on Tuesday night that they have to do tonight is they've got to beat Vancouver when it comes to the puck battles. They just have to get possession and then create some chances off of that. But it's all about winning the puck battles, getting to the pucks. And that is something that Nashville just did not do against Anaheim. So if you are looking ahead to the game tonight, Emma, what do you want to see from Nashville?
I mean, it's not a short list. I would like to
For
see
real?
everything that we did not see against Anaheim. I mean, good Lord. I want to see crisp passing. I want to see smooth zone entries. I want to see guys looking like they're driving to the net with a purpose and not just, oh, how did we get here? Oh, I guess we'll kind of half-heartedly sort of aim the puck towards the net, but if it doesn't go in, no biggie. There will be no one there to try and knock it in. So, I mean, just like some purpose, some drive. I know that's
Great
kind of
word.
it
Purpose.
is it's very nebulous, but it's like nothing they did felt like it had any sort of purpose behind it, any sort of urgency behind it. And so you say things like, yeah, I want to see more goals. Well, duh, I would like to see more goals. Maybe don't listen to Steven Stamkos, the rest of the team, when he's saying, well, we're just not a team that scores 4 to 5 goals. Well, not with that attitude, you're not.
Speak life, Steven Stamkos. Speak life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, just because you're not scoring goals right now doesn't mean we have to poo-poo on everyone else's parade. If they want to score some goals, they can, and they should, pretty please.
Yes. Yeah. This is a game that I would really love to see Nashville again hit that like 4-goal mark. Can they do it? It is so hard to know after what we watched on Tuesday. It is very hard to know what we're going to see tonight, especially against a team, like you said, like Vancouver, coming in hot, but they got some issues as well. What is Nashville going to do against them? Well, we will find out tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. Of course, on tomorrow's show, Emma and I are going to bring you all of the details, including our one word to describe whatever unfolds on that ice. Help us. Whatever unfolds, we'll bring that to you tomorrow. Plus, this weekend, the Predators, no rest for the weary. They have a back-to-back LA Kings, Dallas Stars. We're going to preview those games for you as well on tomorrow's show. So make sure you tune back in here tomorrow. Emma, before we log off, catch our breath and get our grilled cheese before the game. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work.
You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingan. You can also find me asking Ryan O'Reilly what kind of acid he uses to wash out his eyes after games. I forgot to do that the other day, so I will make sure to ask this time. And you can find my work at the Hockey News.
You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. Friends, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back tomorrow with an all-new episode. We'll see you then.